Paracosmic, a short novel by Braun. Act 0. Prognostics. Is a story a dream? Is a dream a memory? Is a memory reality? Seeing it, hearing it, thinking it. There, on the church floor, lies someone, in some sense. 1, or 2, or none. In the chapel, maybe 3. In the universe, maybe 4. Who's to say? The creator, the critic, the art itself. All will certainly try, but there will never be one answer. It's all a matter of perspective. Whether a prophecy is a prologue or an epilogue depends on when you read it. Whether the cat is a person or not depends on how much he knows. And whether or not something is real depends on your definition of reality. Is reality a memory? Is a memory a dream? Is a dream a story? This might be your prologue, tempting you with promise and potential, drawing you ever deeper into somewhere else. Or this might be your epilogue, warding you away from the past, forewarning that the next iteration will be no different. No matter your perspective, the cat will wake up again and call it a nightmare. Act 1. Aftermath. He shuddered awake, as still as a corpse on the floor. Everything hurt, and the air smelt like coins and incense. There was something important about that dream, something he was supposed to hold on to, but the aching of the waking world suffocated it out of his weary head. The only remnant of it was now a word, groggily whispered out of his lips. Reality. His ear flicked. Quiet. That's different. Slowly, he let the dim red light of the room pour into his jade-green eye, and winced at his left eye not opening. He shuddered again, and remembered, but only in part. He let his fluffed ears tune to the quiet hymn of the buildings surrounding him, and forced his stiff arms to move, raising his black furred body at least somewhat away from the brickwork floor. The surface was sticky against his paws, and his cheek fur was matted and clotted together by it. Lucky I lost so much blood, or I wouldn't have been able to sleep. The cat raised himself up proper, sitting up against the holy glass window that shone in an opaque red, coating the room in a stagnant omen. His eye, straining even against this dim light, wandered the chapel floor, and discovered more he had forgotten about. A pool of blood for a bed, soaking parts of his bag and clothes too. That's right, his eye. Gently, he raised a paw to test at the improvised gauze, but even at the lightest touch, his whole body recoiled, tail flicking in firm disapproval. The pain energized him, though, and his eye opened wider towards the glint of his dagger, halfway across the room. Well, that was stupid, too, sleeping without that. He leaned back on the sturdy glass, breathing out a sigh that matched the humming ache across his body, and held his lungs empty as his gaze was pulled taut to the other side of the room. The body. It was lanky and slim, the body of some kind of wolf or maybe a fox, decorated in copper-red fur that hid the cuts well. The cat's ears folded back as he held himself close, leering with a double-edged disgust. His mind swirled and his vision blurred, his body stuck in a lethargic stasis. Finally, he harshly cut his gaze and took a shaky inhale as his eye fell away. Back to the dagger. God, I'm such a fucking idiot, he choked out, burying his face in his palms. I'm sorry, Whisper. I'm so sorry. That wasn't fair. The dagger sang as the cat drearily drew it back to himself, placing it calmly in its weathered sheath. With a great effort, he lifted himself off the floor, and the world went fuzzy and black as he did so. Catching himself against the wall, he let his vision clear, and allowed the familiar weight of his bag to plant him firm on his feet. Ugh, up and Adam felt. You smell like death today. And the halls said the same in agreement. Felt shambled away into the chapel's unending rooms. Rows and rows of stained glass windows provided their holy red light from no discernible source but their own. And always in the distance was the muffled hum of a choir, yet with no churchgoers to sing it. Felt wasn't used to being alone, even though he ought to have been. But the lack of anyone to talk to still wore at his voice all the same. Eventually, he came to a sermon hall lined with dusty pews on either side, crowned with a basin of water on the stage at the other end. Knew I remembered seeing that, he croaked, rushing up the stage to take his fill. Eagerly, he gorged himself on the water as if it really were blessed, aggressively washing the blood from his fur in big splashes and taking long, desperate drinks in between. As he finally stood still, however, something unusual occurred. No, not entirely unusual, merely unusual to him. At the helm of the stage, he felt like a priest in a way, as if ears waited on his every word. The presence of someone listening, reading him like a book. Is someone there? I can feel you watching me. I think. Yet whoever listened could never respond. Keeping a close eye behind him, Felt stood tall again as he strode back towards the antechamber where he woke. Then, as he turned forward, he stumbled and stopped. Geez, this is weird. He twisted his head, experimenting with his lopsided vision, and eventually let his sight rest on himself, reflected in the red-stained glass. I can barely tell what's bloody. He delicately pressed at his missing eye again, and the makeshift gauze was already a swamp. I'll need to find something to replace that soon. Maybe Whisper still has had some. No, I couldn't. I can't do that. Felt was still for a long moment, listening to the hum of the church, fighting back tears that he knew would hurt like hell to cry. Then, in silence, he found his way back to the antechamber. Felt stood above Whisper's body, her corpse as still and limp as a stuffed toy. His eye dripped blood down onto her rugged fur, seeping into and dying on her body's cold surface. And he let his words trickle out in much the same fashion, low and quiet. I don't understand. What did you mean when you said you can't let me see it? What did you mean when you said that I'd be safer if I died? He looked at her back for a long while. I should find somewhere to bury you, I guess. I'm still sorry. That wasn't a fair fight. Felt let his wet bag slump off his shoulders and knelt down to disturb Whisper's body. He felt her back, felt the cloth and fur, so cold, as if it were just a coat lying on the ground. He stopped. His focus shifted to the glint of something on the back of Whisper's neck, a clasp for a necklace. Felt carefully undid it, as if it were some hallowed artifact, and slid it into his palm. Oh right, this old thing. Your lucky necklace. He examined it again. An eye-shaped steel charm with an amethyst tear as its pupil, emanating a deep blue aura that mixed with the red room, melting into a foreign violet. Something gathered in Felt's head, something begging to be remembered, a layered sense of déjà vu twisting his head at the sight of me, but he could not parse that I was its source. Holding it, he heard a different hum, one familiar only to us, as he idly locked it around his neck, the thick string still stained with old blood. Old blood? What? Who said that?